What if one of the strongest forces shaping your life is not the media, not advertising, not the government, not some distant system trying to control your mind, but the people close enough to whisper into it? A friend who laughs at your choice until you stop defending it. A partner who goes silent until you apologize for something you are not sure you did. A boss who calls exhaustion an opportunity. A group that never gives you an order, but somehow teaches you exactly what kind of person you must become to stay accepted. Someone trying to sell you something, someone lying, someone pushing, someone using the right words to make you obey. But the most powerful persuasion rarely feels like pressure. It feels like love, concern, loyalty, common sense, a small look across the room, a disappointed silence, a joke that lands just hard enough to change your behavior. And because it does not feel like force, you may never call it control. You may simply call it your choice. This is where the question becomes uncomfortable. How much of your life did you truly choose, and how much was quietly suggested to you by people you did not want to disappoint? Think about a decision you once made because someone close to you had an opinion about it. Not a violent opinion, not even a cruel one. Maybe they just kept asking if you were sure. Maybe they smiled when you moved in one direction and became cold when you moved in another. Maybe they made one path feel mature, responsible, loyal, respectable, while the other path made you feel selfish, childish, ungrateful, or strange. Nobody had to lock a door. They only had to change the emotional temperature around each option. This is not always evil. That is why it becomes complicated. Human beings influence each other constantly. A child learns by watching faces. A teenager learns what is acceptable by sensing the group. Adults still do it. We read tone, posture, approval, hesitation, silence. We notice who gets laughed at, who gets praised, who gets ignored. Long before someone explains the rules, we begin to understand the room. Psychologists call part of this conformity, the way people adjust their behavior or opinions to fit a group. Sometimes we agree because we actually changed our minds. Other times we agree because disagreement has a cost. Research on social influence has shown that people can move away from their own perception when group pressure is strong enough. In real life, that pressure looks like dinner with family, a workplace meeting, or a group chat where everyone seems to know what is funny except you. You do not need to be weak to be influenced. You only need to be human. The self is not a sealed object, it is porous. It absorbs language, shame, expectations, fear, approval, and desire. Some of what you call your personality was built in contact with other people. Some of what you call ambition may be an old attempt to prove someone wrong. Some of what you call morality may be fear wearing a noble costume. And once another person's voice lives inside you for long enough, it stops sounding like them. It starts sounding like you. That is the frightening part. Persuasion is not complete when you obey. It is complete when you no longer need the other person in the room. You monitor yourself. You reject your own impulse before anyone else can judge it. You feel guilty before you understand what rule you broke. You explain your life to an imaginary audience that may not even be watching. At first, it feels like being controlled by others. Later, it feels like being responsible. There's a simple phrase someone might use: "I am just worried about you." It sounds gentle. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is love. But placed in the right context, repeated at the right moments, attached to the right facial expression, it can become a steering wheel. It can mean, "I care." It can also mean, "Your independence makes me uncomfortable." It can mean, "I cannot handle the version of you that does not need my approval." A joke can do the same thing. Someone says, "Oh, so now you think you are better than us?" Everyone laughs, and maybe you laugh too, because refusing the joke would make the room heavier. But something has been installed. A boundary has been drawn. The next time you try to change, grow, leave, study, dress differently, take a risk, say no, or become more serious about your life, that joke returns. Not as a joke anymore, as a warning. This is how ordinary language becomes architecture. It builds invisible walls around what you are allowed to want. A family can do it by calling fear wisdom. A friend group can do it by making ambition look embarrassing. A partner can do it by turning distance into punishment. A workplace can do it by making you feel lucky to be exploited. And yet, there is a turn here that makes the whole thing more honest. because you are not only the person being shaped. At some point, you may become the person shaping someone else. Maybe you do not think of it that way. You just want your friend to make the choice you believe is right. You just want your partner to understand how much they hurt you. You just want someone you love to stop walking towards something that makes you anxious. So you become quiet, you make a joke, you withdraw warmth, you say do whatever you want in a tone that clearly means do not. You call it honesty, concern, standards, boundaries, love. And sometimes it may be those things. But sometimes, without noticing, you are using emotional weather to guide another person into the version of them that makes you feel safe. This does not make you a villain. It makes you part of the same human pattern. We persuade because we fear loss. We persuade because other people's choices affect us. Sometimes love wants freedom for the other person. Sometimes love wants relief for itself and mistakes that relief for wisdom. That is why the answer cannot be, never listen to anyone. That would be childish. Other people can see what you cannot. A friend can warn you. A parent can carry experience. A partner can notice your blind spots. Influence is not the enemy. Unconscious influence is. Picture a quiet moment after a conversation. The room is still, but you are not. Someone has said something small, and now your whole inner world has moved around it. You were excited before, now you are doubtful. You had a desire, a plan, a direction, and after one look, one sentence, one pause, you feel the need to defend yourself to someone who is not even there anymore. That is the moment to slow down, not to attack them, not to reject them, not to turn every disagreement into manipulation, just to ask the question most people avoid. Do I actually believe this, or am I trying to escape the feeling of being disapproved of? That question can change everything, because many decisions are not made by desire. They are made by fear of consequence, fear of disappointing someone, fear of losing love, fear of becoming the version of yourself that no longer fits inside the story other people have written for you. And sometimes the life you are defending is not even yours. It is a compromise that became familiar, a performance that became identity, a cage that was decorated slowly enough to feel like home. Freedom does not mean becoming untouched by other people. No one is untouched. Every mind carries fingerprints, the words of people who raised you, the silence of people who judged you, the approval of people you wanted, the rejection of people you still remember. But awareness changes the structure. When you can see the influence, it stops being invisible. When you can name the guilt, it stops pretending to be truth. When you can recognize the voice inside your head and ask where it came from, you begin to separate guidance from control, care from fear, love from possession, and belonging from surrender. The goal is not to become impossible to persuade. The goal is to become conscious enough to know when persuasion is happening, to listen without disappearing, to love without obeying automatically, to care what people think without handing them the keys to your identity, to notice when you are doing it to someone else. Because the deepest form of control is not when someone forces you to move. It is when they teach you to call their direction your own. And the beginning of freedom may be as quiet as a pause before saying yes, a breath before accepting guilt, a moment where you finally ask, with absolute honesty, whose voice is speaking through your life. Lucid order. Question everything.